Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bashar Abdelhadi. Inshallah, I'll be chairing the IDN session. Today morning, we'll be having an international domain names session. We'll be having Mr. Bahar Esmat from ICANN and Mr. Mohammed Al-Bashir from .QA, Qatar. And we'll be having a remote participation from .mawqi, one of the Arabic GTLDs which has applied and approved, and inshallah will be launching soon. So basically, a small brief about, the session. We'll be doing 2 presentations, then we'll switch to a panel where it will be a Q&A, and inshallah we'll be expecting a lot of questions about, how the process, how the CCTLDs, the country code domain names, and the GTLDs is basically has applied, and what was the, let's say, the history. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Bahar Esmat to brief you about the ICANN part from the IDN. Please, Mr. Bahar.
Thank you, Bashar. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bahar Esmat. I'm with ICANN, and I'm going to just give you a brief introduction about IDNs, what's been happening in this area, and where we are right now. Can we? Yeah. So I don't have any slides. Maybe just a couple of links on the website to some of the statistics on IDNs and all this. But basically, so IDNs is like IPv6. It's been around for like 15 years when people started to think about introducing domain names in scripts other than the ASCII or the Latin script. So people in parts of Asia and parts of the Middle East, they wanted to see domain names in Indian languages, in Arabic, in Chinese, and so forth. And a lot of research took place during the second half of the 90s. And then at ICANN, probably starting 2002, 2003, discussions were about, okay, how to change the DNS to make it understand domain names in different scripts. And in the end, agreement was, okay, we don't need to change the DNS. Let's develop some protocol that would, make the applications understand domain names other than, the ASCII domains, but leave the DNS as is. And the first phase of the IDNs was around 2004 when IDNs were implemented at what we call the second level. So at the top level, like ComNet, KW, UK, and so forth, that level was kept as is. But registrants who wanted to get domain names in different languages, they can register domain names underneath the ASCII top-level domains. And since then, we started to see, domain names registered under COM in Chinese, in Arabic, and different scripts. This solution in particular was not perfect for the Arab community because switching, having the domain name or the URL, half of it in Arabic and the other half in ASCII was not convenient for end users to switch the keyboard from one, character set to the other. And people kept asking ICANN for getting the full address in IDNs, like the full URL address or email address in Arabic or in Urdu or in whatever language. So that was the second phase of the IDN process, and it took us from like 2005 to 2009 to develop the policy and the implementation process to get IDNs at the top level. And in 2009, we started with what we call the fast track process, and that was a process to allow countries to get their names with their native scripts. So Arab countries could get their country codes in Arabic. China, India, Japan, Korea, and all these countries could get their country codes in their languages. So if we look at this page, we can see the list of countries that got their country codes in IDNs. Currently, we have more than 30 IDN CCTLDs inserted into the root. Those CCTLDs represent more than 23 countries, because some countries got more than one name. Like in India, they have several languages, so they got 6 or 7 TLDs in 6 or 7 different languages. Same in China, they got 2. We have like 11 Arab countries right now. They have their names in Arabic, including many in the Gulf, like Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Bahrain in the way, Oman. Kuwait still hasn't got its name in Arabic, by the way. So maybe it's something they could think about. So India got like 7 IDN CCTLDs. So you can see the list on the ICANN website. Now, this process started in 2009, and we've been seeing more countries applying for their IDN top-level domains. However, we haven't seen much uptake for IDN registration under CCTLDs, except in few countries like China, Korea, Russia. But for the majority of the Arab countries, the growth has been very slow for different reasons. Some reasons relate to the usage, the applications, the end user experience, and all this. But other reasons also relate to the content and the lack of the Arabic content. Because if you would use or click or register a domain in Arabic, you would expect that you would end or land into a web page that has an Arabic content. And because, one of the key challenges in this region is, to some extent, the lack of Arabic content or the lack of meaningful Arabic content, we've been seeing also slow uptake in the registrations of Arabic domain names. I'm sure Mohammed Al-Bashir from ICT Qatar is going to talk to this point in detail and maybe give us some insight on how the registrations are doing in Qatar. But from what I've got recently from different Arab CCTLDs, like in Saudi Arabia or Emirates, and those are countries where we expected faster or quick uptake. They got like maybe 3,000 domain names registered in Arabic, and this is a very small number. So this is on the CCTLD part. Now on the GTLD part, the generic top-level domains, in 2011, ICANN launched what we call the new GTLD program. This is the program that allows more generic top-level domains to be added to the root, and those TLDs could be in any script, whether ASCII or any other script. So out of more than like 1,900 applications that ICANN has received since 2011, we got 116 IDN applications. Again, names in different scripts from Chinese to Arabic to many others. So some of the Arabic generic names that have been applied for, we can see some city names like Abu Dhabi, like Doha. We can see some brands like Salat, Aramco, Baytek. Baytek actually is one of the organizations here in Kuwait. It's a commercial bank or something? Commercial bank. You can see some generic names like .shabaka, .mawqa, .bazaar. So these are some of the Arabic GTLD applications. Now, these names have not been inserted or added to the root yet. They are in the process. They passed what we call the string evaluation phase. They got approved as strings. Right now, they're going through some other phases, there are some legal process they have to go through. There are some technical tests that have to be undertaken to make sure that the registries that run those names, they have the infrastructure in place and all this. So this is, again, with regard to GTLDs, and it's very difficult to say or to foresee how those names will eventually, do. I mean, whether they do good or bad. We expect like any other names, some of them will probably, do well, some will not. It all depends on their, business plans and policies and all this. But right now, it's very, very difficult to to anticipate that. But we have one of the speakers actually is joining us remotely, and he's going to talk to one of those applications. Now, generally, there are still two overarching issues that need some work to be done in IDNs. One issue is what we call the variance. And the other issue is what we call universal acceptance. And I'll explain what these issues are. So variance is simply it refers to the problem of having names that are similar to each other, or that look like each other. And this is very common in some scripts, including the Arabic script, by the way. So the Arabic script is used across several languages, from Arabic, Farsi, Urdu, Sindhi, and several others. And those scripts, I mean, even though they use the same set of Arabic characters, but those characters are not, I mean, the characters we use in the Arabic languages, in the Arabic language, are actually a subset of the larger Arabic character set. There are more characters used in Farsi or in Urdu. Some of those characters, they look exactly like they look alike. So when you see a word in Urdu and it uses a character like kaf, so the kaf in Urdu, it looks very similar to the kaf in Arabic, but they're not the same. For the computer, the Unicode is different. So when you see those domains, you can think that those domains are exactly the same, but for the machines, for the computers, they're not the same. And then they cause all kind of confusion, and they also cause a lot of security issues. So now one of the projects that ICANN is working on is how to introduce variance into the root. Some of the TLD applicants, some of the TLD operators, they want to get the variance for their names. So how can we do that? So we've recently set up actually more than one expert panel, and those are panels that are going to look into the rules, the technical and maybe policy rules to introduce variant characters into the root. And those panels, they work on more than 15 different scripts, including, again, the Arabic script. And for each expert panel, we're trying to reach out to experts from different communities to join those panels and to participate in this work. And maybe this is an opportunity to encourage people who are interested in whether domain names, DNS from technical or policy point of view, or even people who are like linguists and experts in linguistic issues in Arabic in particular, to join the Arabic script panel. If you are interested and you want to get more information, let me know, and I'll send you all the information on how to join those panels and all this. So this is about variance, and this is an ongoing work. We expect to have some of the outcomes of the panels to be ready by June next year, and then we'll work on the next steps. The other issue is what we call universal acceptance. Universal acceptance is not new. We've seen when new GTLDs were introduced like a decade ago, names like .mobi and .info. Those were names that were new to the root. Those were names that had more than 3 characters, because before year 2000, we used to have top-level domains only as 2-character TLDs or 3-character TLDs like ComNet or UK, KW, and all this. But with the introduction of new GTLDs, we've seen names with 4 and more characters. Then we started to see applications, online applications, like you go to do something online, register, or maybe book a flight or do something, and then you want to put your email address, and you would find that the service or the system you're trying to use, it does not accept your email address because it's at something .tld that is not recognized by that system. Of course, there are many reasons for this behavior, but the result for the end user was not good, because the end user is trying to do something online and it doesn't work. This problem, we're going to face it again with the thousands of new domains that are going to be introduced as part of the new GTLD program in the next few months. We've also experienced some issues with the IDN CCTLDs, like with the top IDN CCTLD names. Again, some applications still do not recognize those names. So ICANN, together with other community members, have been working on some documents and materials on how to resolve the universal acceptance issue. And recently there was a report coming out of one of those groups recommending that ICANN should update what we call the IDN guidelines, and sort of not to enforce, but at least try to encourage DNS operators and different service providers to adopt those guidelines. And simply in the guidelines, it says that to verify whether this is a top-level domain or not, the reference should be the root database. The root database is the database that has all the top-level domains, like 260 or 270 top-level domains that exist currently. So this should be the only reference for any sort of service provider or application provider to use. Sometimes some application providers use like hard-coded lists into their applications, and those lists oftentimes they don't get updated quite regularly. So this is one solution that is not recommended. So this is the kind of one of the recommendations that came in this report. So these are still, variance and universal acceptance, they are still work in progress, and there is more work to be done in those areas. I think I'm going to stop here, unless there are any questions. Maybe you can take them in the end, or, Bashar, I'll turn it over to you.
Turn on the Saudi if you want to show the variance.
So thank you, Bashar. So this is one of the example of the variance. If you see, this is al-Saudiya in Arabic. You can see that the last character, which is te marbuta, in the first one, this is the te in ta al-marbuta in Arabic. The second one, actually, this is not an Arabic ta marbuta. It's an Arabic script, but it's not like an Arabic language. Probably it's used in one of the other language. Another example of variance is the ha. So because again, ta marbuta and ha, they look very similar. So the registry of Saudi Arabia of .Saudiya, they wanted to have both names. So to use them both. If one end user or one registrant wants to register a domain and he doesn't want to use the dots on top of al-ha, then he can do this. So because ICANN has not allowed variance to be used yet, so what we ask people to do is in their applications to identify which variants they would want to have, and we would get those variants blocked or reserved for them until we sort out the variance issues. So right now, Saudiya got only one name, which is the first one, and then the other two are reserved until we get, reserved means that no one else can use them until we get the variant issue sorted out.
just about the the variants which Mr. Baha just explained. For example, you can see here this domain name is basically on the .com. It is the letter CAF, which is this is the Unicode representation. This is another domain name totally different, and when you can see that it's also looks exactly similar. It's called the letter G in Urdu, I believe. So the letters looks similar when you write it in Arabic script, but they are totally two different sites. You can see the Unicode representation, for example, U0CC, and the other one is 0643. So I think this is the one, maybe you can explain about, how ICANN is, applying policies or something.
So for second-level domains, registries are free to implement whatever variant policies they want to implement. So .com probably, they are open. They let anyone registers any domain, so they don't have any specific policy. But for CCTLDs in particular, they do have policies to register a domain name. Some of them, like they offer bundles. So if there are a set of domains that look, exactly the same, they bundle them into one sort of package. And if I'm the registrant and I ask to register one of those domains, I'll get the whole bundle. Some other cases, they can give the registrant the one domain that he or she wanted to register and block the rest. And so the policies actually, they vary from one registry to another. And again, maybe Mohammed Bashir, when he talks about their experience in Qatar, can also tell us more about their policy with regard to variants. Thank you.
Thank you, Bahar. Well, actually, we'll be having the panel after the presentations, so we can't have the Q&A because we're having the... Yeah. If we can just hold this question regarding the panel, because the guest online is waiting. I don't want to pass the timeline. Yeah, we'll take it after when we get into the Q&A. Thank you, Bahar. Okay, now we will switch to Mr. Mohammed Al-Bashir from ICT Qatar to talk about .Kuwait and .Qatar. I'll just go for